Welcome to Gadget Lab 2012, episode 1. I'm Michael Calore.
I'm Mike Isaac.
Today we've got a little preview of the Consumer Electronics Show coming up next week.
Are you chugging Emergency every single day?
Yes, I started actually giving it to myself intravenously around Christmas.
Nice.
And then we're going to have take a look at a RED camera from John, a really fancy video camera for shooting Hollywood movies digitally.
Is it actually red?
No, it's black.
Oh.
And then Christina's going to show us a new Windows phone. But first, let's talk about CES. This is the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yes, the yearly event in Vegas that everyone in the electronics and tech industry sort of simultaneously looks forward to and dreads, right?
Yeah.
Because it's where everything comes out every year, right? It's all of the big products of the year come out.
Yeah, so everybody shows off stuff. You know, Toshiba, HP, Sony, you name it. Any company involved at all in hardware will be there showing you everything they're going to be releasing between now and the holidays.
Right.
So it's sort of an endless stream of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's our job as journalists to wade through all of that and find the most important things, the most interesting things, and the things that make the biggest impact on our industry and our lives, and show those to you. So that, of course, is going to be phones, tablets, and television.
Right, the three things that we all use.
So what are you looking for in phones this year?
So this is going to be Nokia, basically the year that Nokia and Microsoft are going big. Microsoft is way behind in the smartphone industry, right? Right now, obviously, Apple and Google dominate the industry. Apple still, Google has, its operating system across a myriad of devices, across manufacturers. Apple is doing insanely well with the iPhone. But Microsoft and its Windows Phone operating system has relatively no market share, right?
Yeah.
So
people who like it, or people who use it like it. I mean, it's a great operating system.
No, it's super cool.
Just there's not very many good phones out there.
Right. So there has been no real, HTC and Samsung and LG, they've kind of had toes in the water, but they're pushing really behind Android, right? So Nokia, what are they, Swedish manufacturers?
They're from Finland.
Oh, Jesus. Oh God, that's a comment fest right there. No offense.
Same thing.
I love your
thing.
meatballs or vodka or whatever.
Borscht.
Nokia is plunging headfirst into Microsoft Windows Phone OS. So they are, infamous for the dumb phones that are everywhere, but they've never done smartphones.
We call them feature phones.
Right, exactly.
But there's also a bunch of ice cream sandwich stuff coming out, probably.
Yeah. At the same time, Android's most recent operating system was released over the Christmas holiday, and so a number of Android devices are going to have to come out and start, upgrading to that eventually, probably within the next 3 months. Tablets, obviously.
Yeah, so we're going to see a bunch of ice cream sandwich tablets, probably. Probably smaller form factor tablets.
Yeah, 7 inches instead of 10. People don't like paying tons of money for things that.
So maybe $300 tablets.
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe 200. The Kindle Fire did very well. Obviously Amazon is doing really well.
Yeah, now everybody wants a $200 tablet.
Right. Which is hard to make, good.
Yeah. Well, everybody also wants a $1,000 fast notebook, so I think we're going to see a lot of ultrabooks at CES.
Okay.
These are things that are basically following what Apple did with the Air, which is make a very light, very portable laptop that doesn't do everything but does enough for around $1,000. Most people are trying to skirt in under that. Some people are skirting in just above it, but it seems to be the sweet spot for laptops.
Nice.
Also at CES, we're going to be looking at green technology for the home. Different ways of keeping your car on the road without using gasoline.
Right.
And we're going to have a roundup of cool audio devices, of course. There's always new headphones, speakers, things like that. Yeah. And we're going to be looking at new fitness devices. So you can check out all that coverage next week on the Gadget Lab on Wired.com. And when we come back, we'll have more to talk about. We'll be in Vegas next week, but when we come back, we'll have more to talk about.
Wait. Isn't Luda and 50 Cent and all those people doing a lot of the device debuts for audio?
Oh, yeah, sure, right. Ludicrous.
No, I'm serious, right?
Yeah. 50 Cent will be there.
Okay.
We'll be hanging with him.
Okay.
Backstage, in the clubs, right? So now we're gonna go to John. We're gonna go to John Snyder, one of Wired's photographers, and he's gonna show us around the RED Scarlet X camera.
This is the latest high-definition video camera from RED. It's the Scarlet X. The Scarlet X is definitely catered towards the independent filmmaker or any professional who wants to upgrade high-definition video from their current DSLR setup. It's about half the price of the Epic RED camera, between $30,000 and $40,000 for that body. This is about $14,000 for the kit. RED gave us this Scarlet X kit that came with a 125 gig SSD card, proprietary to them, this monitor, handle grip, some batteries, and they gave us one of their cine lenses. This camera is definitely geared for professionals. It's not for making home movies. It shoots at 5K, which is 5 times higher definition than 1080 HD. The difference between the Scarlet X and the RED Epic is basically options in frame rate capture. With the Epic, you can capture any frame rate at any resolution. The Scarlet X can only shoot 24 frames per second at 4K, 60p at 2K, and at 5K, you're only really pulling high definitions raw stills. The dynamic range on the Mysterium X sensor that comes in these cameras is about 13 stops, which means that you can pick up a lot of information from the darkest shadow to the brightest highlight. This camera can be handheld, but it definitely weighs 5 pounds and probably about 12 with the lens on it, this big cine lens. Probably not the best thing to hold for a long time. I would definitely consider investing in a RED camera, the Scarlet X particularly. It's affordable. Everything is modular, so as the technology changes, you can upgrade pieces, and it's really fun to use.
We're joined now by Christina Bonington. At the top of the show, we talked a little bit about the partnership between Microsoft and Nokia to bring Windows Phone devices to the US market. And we have an impressive one that you've been testing.
We do, the Nokia Lumia 710.
This is brand new, right? Just came out?
It is. It'll be available, I believe, next week.
On T-Mobile?
On T-Mobile for $50.
$50?
$50! And
$50?
the best part is, it doesn't suck.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
There's more. But
so what's special about this phone? Like, this is part of the Lumia series, right?
It is. So it has a big sister, the Nokia Lumia 800, that we reviewed recently, and that one's kind of more of a flagship a little bit. It's still not a hugely spec-filled phone. Neither is the 710. It's got a single-core processor, 5-megapixel rear-facing camera, 3.7-inch display. So it's just kind of, it's good.
A little bit less than everything else we've seen.
Yeah, but it really doesn't need all those bells and whistles. It's a really solid, smooth experience. Everything works the way you'd hope it would. It does have hardware buttons along the bottom instead of capacitive touch buttons, which we kind of usually see these days. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's definitely a good bargain for $50.
$50, you can't go wrong there. So one of the things that you mentioned in your review that I thought was really interesting was that this is a good phone for people who are sort of smartphone curious.
Right.
Because it's a Windows phone, I think a lot of people who are still using, I mean, most of the people in the world use Windows as their main operating system. So if you're making the jump to smartphones, is it easier as a Windows user to have like a Microsoft, branded and Microsoft designed experience on your phone?
So it's definitely completely different from like Windows 7, from like the Windows desktop experience. It will be similar though to Windows 8 because it has that same Metro interface. And it's just generally pretty easy to use. You've got these live tiles on the front, and T-Mobile added a few apps. So it comes with Netflix, ESPN, the Weather Channel, and a few other things. There's an app on here that lets you kind of just check your account information really easily, how many minutes you've used up. They've made it really user-friendly. And then you've got these live tiles, you click them, they update, I can see what temperature it is, I can, get to my pictures really easily.
So the cool thing about live tiles is that they've really incorporated a lot of the social networking stuff that used to be app-dependent into the operating system, right? So you've got like Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff on the, like actually baked into the OS right from the get-go, right?
Right, so that's in what's called People Hub, and it just collects all of your social media streams. If you click on a particular person, it'll show you all your interactions with them, your emails, tweets, Facebook status messages and stuff. So it's really nice to see how you interact with your friends. The only problem I had with it really was that sometimes it didn't like when I clicked on the links. It took a few tries.
Oh, I see.
Which kind of actually makes me feel like I'm a robot or something. Like, why doesn't my finger work?
The screen doesn't understand urgency. The harder you press, it doesn't go through any faster.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. And there's more coming this year from the Nokia Microsoft partnership, for sure, right?
Yes.
When do you think we're going to see the 800 stateside? I mean, it's available in Europe now.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I would hope. I mean, it's already January. I was hoping, February, but tough to say. Maybe
okay.
February, March.
Well, I'm on the edge of my seat. That's all for this week. Next week we'll be at the Consumer Electronics Show, but we'll have tons of video and tons of posts and tons of stories and tons of photos coming from the whole team. She'll be there, I'll be there, Mike will be there, John will be there. So you'll get to see our smiling faces whether you like it or not. And then we'll be back in the studio the following week. So until then, bye-bye.